Welcome to Amalgam Hour, the movie and comic podcast. I'm Robin.
I'm Dan.
And we recently, in air quotes, watched Shang-Chi. We might as well talk about it because we talk about every other Marvel film. How fun. Daniel, where are we going to start off with?
Just start off. Overall thoughts. Did you like the movie?
Yes, I did. Okay, that has been the Amalgam Hour. Fuck. I had to do it to myself. It's a good film. It's probably one of the better Marvel films I've watched in a while. And I say that, and I've only watched like Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2 and Black Widow. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But compared to them,
First, it's the best Marvel film you watched in 2 years. The only Marvel film you watched in the last 2 years is Black Widow.
Exactly. It's probably the best Marvel film about Shang-Chi.
Shut up.
You know? I'm not wrong. Yeah. What about you? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What?
It wasn't the best thing in the world, but it was fun.
Okay. What?
Great time. That guy wouldn't go off his phone, but it was a great time.
Yeah. God, I hate cinemas. If you could think about another Marvel film, what could you compare this to as like your level of like? If you get what I mean. Because it's not a Winter Soldier.
Probably like
it's not an Endgame.
I'd say it's a top 10 sort of thing, but like it's bottom top 10. You get what I mean? Yeah. It's like a 10.
That's the thing with this film. It's just good. There's no like, oh my god, this
I was
amazing.
Worried about this one's gonna be too political because of being the First Asian.
But that's the thing. It's just like that's why with Black Panther,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. With Black Panther, I was just like, this is just a film. Like I'm a white dude who I don't care about race, so I'm not going to go into a black film going, oh my god, yes, like good. I don't get why we haven't had like an Asian superhero film or a black casted superhero film. I'm just like, there's 1,002 characters over here. It's been a risk. Yeah, it's just only white men. If you're not a white man, get out! Starts kicking you in the face.
Black Panther was really successful.
Exactly. Which I'm glad.
This film's been really good considering when it came out.
Yeah. And I'm glad Black Panther came out and did great. So people go, oh, we can have other races act as superheroes? I'm like, well, no shit. Do you get what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't go to watch Captain America 3 because, oh my god, it's a white man. I'm not like, oh.
No, you went to see Captain America 3 because it was Chris Evans and you love him.
Yeah, that's true, just in general. I watched Civil War about 4 years after it came out, so you can't come at me, you know. I'm glad this film exists.
Video, or like, yeah, I know, they've had an argument.
Yeah, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I can assume. I watched the trailer. I know. But then I'm glad this film comes out or has come out, and I hope there's more like this one where it's not just the most basic generic white person ever in the lead role, because
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like, oh my god, there's a white man on my screen. But I've never heard of the guy who plays Shang-Chi. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen him in Kim's Convenience and that's about it. And I didn't exactly go, he would make a beautiful Shang-Chi. But guess what he does do? He's a beautiful Shang-Chi. You know? Ever since he tweeted at Kevin Feige, he was like, hey. And Kevin Feige was like, damn, he's right. I have to cast him. So, casting, great. Clap hands.
Brilliant. Well done.
Okay. So, overall, we've just discussed, it's just a good film. There's nothing terrible about it. It's just good. It's like
a family film. It's all about family.
For me, it's in the middle, but more towards the up. Because I'm not the biggest fan of Marvel films, as we discussed right before this episode.
25 of them now.
Yeah. I know. I'm just a bit. I think I've seen enough. But I don't want them to stop. It's a very weird relationship me and the MCU have.
Because they stop, we don't have anything to go with.
Because I'm like, ugh, I don't really want to watch Shang-Chi, but I want there to be Shang-Chi, Legend of the Fing Fan Foom. I want there to be Shang-Chi, Legend of the Iron Fist. Tegan, are you going to go watch any of them? Not really. I think if I'm forced, I go.
Comes out.
I know. But I had nothing better to do. All right then. Overall, let's talk about the
first
characters.
character. Shang-Chi himself.
I thought you were going to be like Wong, the best character in this film. I liked Shang-Chi in this because I thought it was going to be generic, stoic action hero type. But no, he had fun with the role and stuff, you know? Like, he reminded me a lot of Jackie Chan as when he fights, he's using stuff around him, he's doing parkour stills that make me feel ill. And he's having fun with it. Like, every 20 punches, there was a joke that actually made me laugh. And that was to do with the actor's acting capability. Like, I found him both fun, and I was like, he could definitely kick my ass. I'm like, I could have a beer with him, and then he could kick my ass. So, you know, good for him. Good for him. I'm glad he tweeted at Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan?
Glad
You
he's
Shang-Chi?
shutting down people who hate this film.
Yeah. So there's no point hating this film.
I think he's a good character. Like, right now, we don't have many good characters.
Yeah. And it's like, I've never cared about Shang-Chi in the comics or in Marvel's, like, movie form. I've never been like, oh my god, I can't wait for a Shang-Chi film.
Mentioned they were doing a Shang-Chi film. Shang-Chi was that character that I read a comic he was in and then forgot he was in it.
Yeah. He was, I think, a background character in Contagion. He was the comic, etc., etc. You know, he's always just, oh yeah.
Before I'd have seen his name and be like, wait, who's this guy? Am I meant to care?
Yeah.
Now I see him, oh, Shang-Chi.
Oh my god, it's that guy who tweeted Kevin Feige. Wow. But you know what I mean? In comics, it was always like Spider-Man, Iron Fist, wow, Luke Cage, wow. In the very back is just Shang-Chi and Moon Knight waving. Like, oi, we're here too.
Yeah.
Sons of bitches.
We're waiting for Marvel Phase 4.
Yeah. Yes. You guys can all come out. And then Shang-Chi's
We'll come out and test things. And then we'll come out when it's already sorted.
Yeah. Let's send all the basic white dudes in first. And then we'll come after. And people will like us. It's like, okay, that's an idea. I like that idea. Wow. Yeah, and I'm glad he played it.
This film was unique.
Yeah, I could have seen him just being generic. Just generic action karate hero. Do you know what I mean? From any, like, film trying to bags you on, like, Asian fighting. You know what I mean? But no, I enjoyed him. The outfit sucked. Like, at the very end.
We're not in a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, that's true. Wait until he turns up in Moon Knight, and then he'll get a good outfit. And
Wait
then
till
we'll come back to
a
this
10
show.
Rings Disney Plus show, and then we'll sort it.
I know. Wow. It was just so boring. I'm just like, because in the comics he now wears a jumpsuit. I think he wears a jumpsuit now because he used to just wear pants without a top. But like, we do that to every actor in one of these Marvel films. If you got abs, we're showing them off in one scene. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So we did do that at one point.
With his sister, he had his show off.
And that was the
most. At least
they
joked about it.
Yeah, that was the most comic accurate outfit he wears throughout the film.
Just him with his shit off.
Exactly.
You can't do that while filming because it'll get cold.
Exactly, you'll get chilly. Kevin Feige doesn't have the budget to buy heaters.
This is Marvel. We operate on a budget.
Yeah, that's always what the mouse says.
Very low budget. Never put any money into
$1.2 million.
What that? It's like,
God, I don't get why
the budget for these films now are like $7 billion.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, we made 14 billion. Fuck, we barely made a profit. Yeah. So, what did you think about Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, honestly, I actually like to see him again and actually him have other movies and go into other characters.
Yeah. You know what I feel like this is going to be? I feel like I'm going to like Shang-Chi more when he's in something that isn't called a Shang-Chi film. Do you know I call it the Doctor Strange effect. Where it's like, Doctor Strange one, it was good.
Doctor Strange has been in 700 things.
Yeah, but now he's
only just getting his sequel.
And now that he's in everything else, I'm like, he's great. Wow. I love Benedict Cumberbatch. I love his little face. As long as he has a red cape on. That's the only time I like his face. But you get what I mean? I can't wait for him to meet a big league superhero and have almost like a Peter Parker reaction to it, where it's like, ooh, wow.
He sort of did at the end.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
which don't be. Yeah, this is a spoiler show. We should probably say that every time we review something, but we don't.
Well, if it's an hour, we're not going to talk about spoiler-free for an hour, are we?
Yeah, we just talk about it in like secret code. But yeah, like I can't wait for him to meet like a Doctor Strange or something, because then I think he'll work great. And this is what I've been wanting for so long. He's gonna spice up action scenes and stuff in superhero films because
he has a unique fighting style.
Yeah, great choreography. That's not similar. Because I'm so fed up of, oh my god, it's a great fighter, and I'm pointing out Winter Soldier or Captain America or Black Widow or this, that, and the other. Do you get what I mean? Now we're gonna have like an interesting.
Some of the better action sequences.
Yeah, like this and Winter Soldier are up there. Yeah, this and Winter Soldier are up there for like great action. Because this is what I wanted from Taskmaster. And by the way, Death Dealer in this should have been Taskmaster. Just saying. But
yeah, we'll get to him.
I wanted better fighting in the Black Widow film, and I got it in the Shang-Chi film, which makes sense.
Yeah, which I mean.
Because it's Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, but like, I want it in both, and the Eternals. Fuck it, put him then. One guy's got laser eyes. Wow.
Screw it.
Yeah, but it's like, but this is the thing now. I need more from Marvel. I can't just have a good fighter. Like I like Shang-Chi as a character.
You've gone safe with your fighting.
Yeah, and it's like the biggest one was always like the biggest one was Vision and Thor. And Vision got Shrek'd, and now we've just been left with Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch to have the ultimate powers. But that's the thing. Marvel doesn't know how to do it in the middle. You either are a good fighter, and you've got like maybe a wing, maybe some strong arm, maybe a shield, and that's it. Or your ultimate level, oh my god. Do you get what I mean? Like your Captain Marvels, your Thors, your Visions, your Doctor Stranges, your Scarlet Witches.
Then it's just Iron Man.
Exactly. And Iron Man's just in the middle, just sort of chilling with Spider-Man, and they've both been like, well, we have cool powers, I guess. But you know what I mean? I want someone else to come through. Like, that's why I'm like, X-Men, 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 X-Men. And the first X-Men they're going to use is Wolverine, who's a good fighter with blades. Give me something more, goddammit. You already got the visual effects of laser eyes from Eternals. Just make them red and just put it on a douchebag, and then I'll love it. But I'm glad we get Shang-Chi and stuff, and I hope this, because this is the least Marvel film I've seen in a while. Like, it's so...
It's a Marvel film, but it's the least Marvel.
Yeah. Like, it's weird to say, but it's like, I can't see Shang-Chi right now hanging out with the Avengers, and that's not bad, because that's what you call street level. Do you know what I mean? This is probably
he is an Avenger post-credit scene.
Yeah. No, he just sang with Wong. Just because he went to the Sanctum Sanctorum doesn't mean he's an Avenger.
And he got welcome to the circus.
Yeah. Well, who gave Wong the capability of just making Avengers? He's not Hawkeye. He can't just do that.
Bruce Banner was there.
Ah!
He's an OG.
Why was he Hulk? Explain to me. Didn't ran out of budget.
We'll get to him. Post-credits is at the end.
Okay. But now I'm like, this is kind of the most street level character we've had in a while, which is funny to say because his first ever outing is against soul-sucking demon monsters and Marvel's Ra's al Ghul. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's who he went up against in his first adventure. But I'm like, this is still the closest we have to street level. And I'm like, that's rather annoying.
Yeah, before this, we had like the first Spider-Man film, and that was probably...
I know, and Iron Man was in it. I heard someone say this is just Iron Man 4, and I went to correct them, and then I went, you're not wrong. This is a sequel to Iron Man 3. Fuck. I was like, wow. But yeah, what were we meant to be talking about? Shang-Chi. Okay, I'm glad Shang-Chi's in the universe.
Fighting's great.
Yeah, because then hopefully that will set up more stuff with like I'd love to see him and Moon Knight, because they would be such contrasting people. Do you get what I mean? I can't wait to see Shang-Chi and more stuff. Which is always good to say about a new character Marvel puts in. Because when was the last new character we had?
It was probably Yelena Belova from Black Widow, but
yeah, technically, but like that was not her
she
film.
wasn't the main character.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then the Disney...
This is the first time since they did it with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But like the time before that was Doctor Strange. But this is the first time we've seen a character. There's been no teasers from beforehand at all, and they've just given him a solo movie.
Good.
Everyone else we've either been
glad.
mentioned
Because
before or we've been shown them before.
I reckon if Black Panther didn't do good, this film never would have been made. It would have been a Disney Plus show five years from now. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god, a street level character with an all Asian cast, that can go on Disney Plus. Do you get what I mean? But I'm so glad it's a film.
It was like top 10 highest grossing films.
Good. I don't get why we don't have like an Asian superhero other than Wong. And I'm glad he turns up, but
yeah, we got Shang-Chi now. Great character.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
I'm glad we
Shang-Chi
now. Okay, let's talk about your favourite character. Waterfina.
We're on to Wenwu.
Oh, that's the dad.
The dad.
The only problem I have with him is
characters.
I feel like he's too stoic, and even in the emotional scenes, he's not showing enough emotion. I think that's more the actor playing him than the character.
I think it is his first English-speaking movie.
Yeah, but I'm also like...
That's what I've heard.
If you're going to be an actor... And the whole thing with his thing was he's flipping back and forth between being a bad guy who wants his wife back and being a father. And with that, I needed more of a range of motion. And I just didn't get that. But he still looked badass.
I would have preferred it if they didn't do this crazy soul-sucking dragon crap at the end, and it was him.
Yeah, it was a more personal story. Yeah. Or like he was possessed by the rings at the end or something, you know. Or it's like, you could even play it off like The Hobbit, like the rings have corrupted him after he, like, the emotional gut punch of his mum dying or his wife.
I like the thing with, he's being tricked by this crazy soul-sucking dragon.
And at one point you even turned to me and was like, is he the villain? And I'm like, oh no, I don't know, mate.
Yeah, I was just like, wait a minute.
Which I like, because it's not the first one where it's like, they almost pulled it off between, because every other Marvel thing, it's, you're either a bad guy or you're not. The only ones in the middle is Loki and Scarlet Witch. Do you know what I mean? He almost had that where it was like, I get why you're doing this, but if it was
He's
more
a sympathetic villain.
Yeah.
It's just like,
but that's the thing, I didn't feel that
people can relate to his motivation.
Yeah, but I didn't feel that because of the lack of emotion, and we never seen anything from his point of view. If you get what I mean, he was always just talking about it, which we'll discuss later, the exposition in this film. But he was only ever talking about that.
Mother types. I went for a piss.
Yeah,
but
she just got Shrek'd in one scene, and you didn't even see her die, so it's just like, fair enough. But it's like, I needed more from this character. He was still good, and he still looked badass when he was fighting with the rings. Like, he looked like he could be the Mandarin, you know?
Fight with the rings at the end, with the two of them.
Yeah, it's fun. And yet again,
fight, but
that's the thing.
Dragon.
As soon as Shang-Chi got the rings, I was like, oh, so you're just fighting an evil version of yourself. I've never seen that before. Do you know what I mean? As soon as he got the rings, I was like, oh, I see what we've done.
Then when the crazy dragon came up, another dragon came up.
I know. I was like, oh my god, a dragon versus a weird dragon? Oh my god, I've never seen this before in a Marvel film. Do you know what I mean?
These people have the same powers.
But that's the thing.
Which worked in this film, considering the dad trained him.
Yeah, and also he took the... And it's not like the villain took the superhero's power. The superhero took the villain's power by the end. Which makes sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
then, there wasn't a point in time where they both had the power at the same time.
They did at one point,
like a brief second.
because they both had 5 rings. But that was like
It was like a brief moment.
30 seconds, and then Shang-Chi just drops them all. He's like, nope, I'll just talk to you like a human, which I'm glad. Because I'm like, you don't need to just punch your dad into a pot.
Himself.
Yeah, which I didn't feel anything for, but I don't feel like I have emotion anyway. Yeah. I would have loved to seen them fight together first. Do you get what I mean? It'd be like...
He would have been better if he sacrificed himself at the end of the fight.
Yes.
Not like right at the start.
Oh, that would be cool if it's like they both can't win because they only have 5 rings. So then the dad grabs Shang-Chi's hand and the rings slide off of his arm onto Shang-Chi's. And because of that, the dad dies, but Shang-Chi then can defeat him. See, we always do this every time we review something. We make it better almost immediately.
Dad just sort of died.
Yeah, and it was like meant to be sad and stuff. And I love the music in this film. But the thing was, it went from like cool hip-hop, like funky music at the start of the film to then by the end it was like orchestral choirs when the dad died. And I'm just like, I don't think I care.
Made sense because they did go to a different area.
Yeah, but I'm also like, but I don't care. And that's the thing with these Marvel films. I'm like, I don't think I care. I care about the character and where they've come from with like the comics and what you're going to do next. But that's the problem. I'm always like, I wonder what they're going to do next. Not what just happened. Do you know what I mean? I'm always looking at the future, not the present, even though the film's in front of my eyes. It can be playing and I'm still like, wonder where that will go. And it's just like, I'm glad.
You know it's never-ending machine.
Yeah. And it's like, they might as well have killed him. Because usually I'm like, no. I'm like, stop killing off villains. But with the Mandarin, I'm like, he has one character arc. There's no other great Mandarin stories. If he were to show up in anything, I feel like he would take the spotlight too much. And he's not the type of character where he would build a super villain league. Or he would be the henchman of a supervillain. So killing him off makes sense.
Also, he wouldn't have been a villain after the story anyway.
Exactly. So, and then he just would have become a side character in Shang-Chi's story. Which, that may have been fun. Like seeing villain become good guy. And the child...
We've seen it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that's just Loki's plot. But it would have been interesting with the relationship. And then, maybe even if it's like, no, he's still a villain. Do you get what I mean? Just the entire time. Because by the end, he's not. Like, he's a weird character. He was a villain, then he became a good guy for 5 minutes. Then he became a bad guy again and just terribly abused his children. And now he's like, come on, let's go as a family. And Shang-Chi's like, I don't think I want it. I think I'm good. I don't want to go fight a dragon.
It's because Shang-Chi was like, oh, I saw my mother die.
Yeah. She's
definitely dead.
Yeah, she is finitoed. 2 feet away from my face, she got pulverized. Okay? Relax.
Walked into a crying child after I went for a piss.
Yeah. Yeah. Next character.
Katie.
Your favourite character. I think, before you speak, I liked her because she's probably the funniest character we've had in a Marvel film for a while. Because I can't stand the side characters of Ant-Man. I can't stand this, that, and the other of funny, air quotes, Ned Leeds characters. Do you get what I mean? But this was the only one. Because she also had skills. She also, she helped during the driving scene. She was doing okay in the, construction fight, you know? She was persuading people.
She was sort of just being tossed around in the construction
But
site,
I'm like, that's exactly what I'd be like. She handled it better. Do you get what I mean? And then she helped the driving at the end. And I'm like, this makes sense. This makes sense so much. Well done. Clap your hands.
The problem with Katie is she's the funny one, whatever. Nobody really cares about the funny one.
Yeah.
But at the end, when she was like, oh, she's the one who shot the arrow that saved the day, it's like,
I know,
no,
and it's like, we've been here for a week. I get
it's
that.
not been set up.
I get that's her character arc, that she picks up everything easily and then drops it immediately. Do you know what would have been better? I thought about this. So they're fighting with the dragons and stuff, and she's just got a spear. You forget all about the bow stuff because that comes out of nowhere. And she's just trying to survive. And then she gets the idea. So you go back to the fight in the dragon, and then the dragon pins the Soul Eater closer to the coast, and then all of a sudden a car just rams into it, a Mach 3. Do you get what I mean? Because that would be...
But you've set up that she's a great
Yeah.
driver.
Do you know what even would be better?
I was happy with the driving through the trees thing, because like, this is set up.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect setup.
We know she's got this skill.
And then it would have been perfect, almost done it in threes. So you get the bus at the start, then get the maze sequence, and then she uses a car at the end. So it's like perfect 1, 2, 3 of using her.
It's not like there's no cars
power.
there. Everybody arrived in a car.
Exactly. And you know what would have even been cooler? If it's like the dragon gets down for a second, and then the soul creature goes after Shang-Chi, and he lands on the top of a car, and then Katie quickly gets into it, and they have a cool like chase scene, you know? You could even do a chase scene through the maze with the monster behind it, and because the maze is like coming after it, it's like, oh, either of the villain or the hero could get fucked up in this scene. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, she could have been of more importance, but I did find her funny. But then
she just sort of... I did think I was going to hate her from the trailers.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know this actress in anything, and I only know this actress now from the first half of this film, because as soon as the sister is involved, she just gets dropped off for ages. She's always just stood there. Do you know what I mean?
Just stood in the background.
Which I get when you have like a big cast of characters, but then don't give us a big cast of characters. Yeah.
Some of the scenes, if she just cracked the joke, it would have been like...
Yeah, it would have been
become the annoying, jokey friend.
Which I get, but I'm also like... Because I'm starting to hate like I think Marvel is the reason I hate comedies now. Because I've watched... Because every Marvel film is a comedy. Unless you watch Incredible Hulk. But then...
That's just depressing.
Exactly. It's the same style of comedy every single time, and it's driving me insane. That's why I can't wait for more like niche stuff, like Moon Knight, to come out. I'm so happy that will come out, because I'm like, you cannot be a comedy. If you're a comedy, I'm going to burn you alive. Do you get what I mean?
Some characters I'm fine with being comedy.
Yeah, like Ant-Man makes sense. It's a bitch of a character.
Ant-Man, if you weren't a comedy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like...
You couldn't have played that straight. But also, like, now that Shang-Chi's, like, practically a comedy at points, and then I've also heard She-Hulk is going to be a comedy, I'm kind of like, Marvel, you don't know how to do comedy. Just leave it alone. Unless your name is Taika Waititi, you can't do comedy. Sit down.
James Gunn in the first Guardians.
Exactly. But yeah. But I think she's fine, and I'm like, it's really interesting to see where she's gonna go from now on. It's like, oh yeah, she's a really good character, and she's like met up with Wong and Captain Marvel and the Hulk, and I'm like, yeah, but she's just a normal person. At least Shang-Chi's got insane fighting skills, knowledge of the underworld and stuff, and the ability to like airbend, you know. But no, now there's
fine
Katie.
If Katie was just sat in the seat and Shang-Chi got taken away.
Yeah. But now, it would be interesting if she just becomes like the driver for the Avengers. Because you know Shang-Chi's going to meet up with the Avengers eventually. And she's just the instant driver. She's like, I don't know how to do anything else. Like, oh my god, there's Galactus.
We go to an epic battle, and it's just her driving a hallway.
Her just driving with Shang-Chi just on the roof fighting creatures, you know? Like, just drive-by karate moves. Pow!
Like in Deadpool, the taxi guy.
Exactly.
Drives him everywhere.
That's what Katie is. But she also knows how to use a bow, and she got the final blow on the creature. Which she didn't.
That was just a lucky shot.
It was just one arrow with the dragon's soul in it. I'm like, Shang-Chi was on the back of that dragon with the 10 rings. Are you telling me he didn't do anything? God.
He was holding on to his sister because he'd never let go.
Thing is, I think... Let's move on to the sister now. What was her name?
She's next anyway.
Is it Xialing or something?
Xiaoling. I don't know how to say it.
There's an X. I'm confused. But, I don't feel like she was needed in this film. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm like, she didn't add a lot to the end fight. Yes, she persuaded the bad guys to join, but I'm like, Katie could have done that. Yes, she was Shang-Chi's link back to her father, but the father could have been that, or the auntie, you know, like something.
Yeah.
But there was just so many characters put in, and I'm like, you could have knocked maybe one or two off.
It's like she worked as like
The
giving
fighting
Shang-Chi
thing,
some like, what's the words?
I don't know,
Some,
emotion.
I don't know what the word, but some like regrets for like the past and leaving his sister behind.
Yeah, but then that could have been the dad anyway. That could have shown more emotion by him being like, you left me. Yes, I hurt you, but you left me a grieving man. Do you get what I mean? And I also lost my son. If he cared about losing his son, the sister wouldn't need to be there. Do you get what I mean? Oh, but I have nothing else to say about that character except she now owns the 10 rings. And I'm like,
I think there could be interesting stuff with her with that.
but I'm like, where's
I think
that
she'd
gonna
be one
go?
of those characters that I don't really like currently, but she could have an interesting future with that.
That's the thing. Yet again, I'm fed up of, oh, she's a good fighter and she's the member of this guild. I'm like, we have that with Sharon Carter now. Do you get what I mean? It's the exact same. But it's the exact same thing. Good fighter leading a guild of people. And I'm like, yeah, but we already have one of them. And I reckon...
Honestly, when I said the 10 rings will return, I was expecting to like announce a 10 rings Disney Plus show.
Yeah, like 10 rings will return in. And I'm just like, can you tell me what it returns in? Please.
Oh.
But, I don't know what else...
They say returns, they don't ever have to pay it off. They can just say, oh, we're doing it.
It will obviously return. That makes sense. But I'm like, where? So what's coming up?
Shang-Chi 2.
Yeah, it will only appear in Shang-Chi 2, and that's because of the sister. And then at one scene, Shang-Chi may be fighting against them, you know? Or he teams up with her, something like that. But it's not needed anywhere else. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm like, yes.
You've got loads of organisations anyway right now.
Exactly. It's like we had Hydra.
It was an
organisation like we dealt with Hydra.
This was Black Widow.
What do you mean?
Film was just Black Widow, just better.
Yeah, and it's like
family. The only thing, family with ties to an organisation.
Yeah.
That has a traumatic past with that organisation.
With a silent.
You're gonna go and take down that organisation.
With a silent, martial artist villain henchman.
Yeah.
Damn, jeez.
It's not the same movie twice.
It's like, yes, there are differences in like both style and genre, but
and there's obviously more connection to the 10 Rings with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But
and I'm just like,
actually,
I hate redundancies. And having another guild, and I get they've been here that entire time, but we haven't heard of them up until this point, except from in like hints, like. There's the 10 ring posters behind Iron Man. There's people with 10 rings tattoos, which that's fun.
You mentioned 10 rings in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
It does say he is
obviously,
a part of 10
but
rings.
like, and now I'm kind of like, I don't know where to go with this.
Technically, this is the organisation we've known the longest.
Yeah. And it's like, if I see Shang-Chi fighting again, just 20 nameless goons, I'm not going to be happy in the next one. Because otherwise it'll just be the exact same fighting. And it's like, if you've got a character whose only trait is a great fighter, mix up the fight scenes. That's why we like Winter Soldier. Because he has a fight scene in an elevator, then he has a fight scene on the bridge with someone he has an emotional, like, careful. He takes down a helicopter with a motorbike and a shield. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. They varied it up, which I get with this one. They went from the truck fighting scene, the bus, which was very interesting.
From a bus to a skyscraper.
Yeah, then the skyscraper construction scene, love it. Then the end fight, which was a bit generic just because I've seen so many times. People in a field just fighting each other, one after another.
Yeah.
It would have been cool if they were doing something else, but...
Did those early fights work because they're so compact spaces?
Yeah, and it's like...
There's no getting away from it. Captain America in the elevator, you can't get away from that fight.
Yeah. Let's talk about the. Have you got any more characters to talk about?
Trevor.
Oh, he. We
Trevor
both.
statue. We can't miss him.
We both did get excited, but imagine watching this film and not watching Iron Man 3. You're going to be so confused. You're going to be like, why the fuck is Ben Kingsley random in this prison? And who's Trevor Slattery?
But he's
who's
a great character.
Who's the Mandarin? Do you know what I mean?
But if you're watching this film after not watching Iron Man 3,
yeah,
you're a bit stupid.
I'm glad he's in this because it makes sense. It links to that whole thing.
Had to be.
Yeah, but
yeah, I thought he was dead, and then that was a great scene.
No. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
a funny
again.
character. I like
But that's the thing. We already have a comedic relief, Katie. So why do we have another one? You know?
It's just Trevor.
Yeah, but then don't have
He had
Katie.
more need to be here because of.
Don't make Katie the comedic
Like, you
relief.
had to sort of explain that.
Yeah. For the first half, Katie is the comedic relief. For the second half, Trevor Slattery is the comedic relief. I'm just like,
could have just been left behind.
I'm just like, choose one or the other, you know?
Yeah.
That's the main problem I have. I'm like, too many characters, so we don't focus on any of them. Any other
Trevor
characters?
was here sort of wrap up Iron Man 3.
Which I make sense, and I hope we never see him again. If
But
we
this
ever,
was a good, like,
if we
ending.
ever go
I don't know
to-
where he ended up, but
he stayed in Taulo, I think it was.
yeah, you can't
Taulo?
exactly go back to America, can you?
Yeah, but if Shang-Chi ever goes to Taulo, okay, bring in Ben Kingsley for a 3-day
Quick
shoot,
cameo.
and then he's there, and then he's not there again. That's
Could
it.
just go up
That's
and
all
say
I
hello
want.
to Shang-Chi and make a
Exactly.
funny joke and leave.
And then like,
Or you see him, he's just an actor. He's being
Yeah.
an actor.
you hear like pots and pans fall, and then he goes to go collect his flying pig thing. He's like, oh no, and then he runs off screen. That's all I need.
Yeah.
There's too many characters at this point. Any more characters for us to discuss?
Actually, talk about the two goons that we have in the two fights.
Death
Razor
Dealer
Fist
and
and
Razor
Death
Fist.
Dealer.
The only thing I like Razor Fist because it was interesting in fights, because it was like the weapon, like Shang-Chi using the weapon against the bus to outsmart the bad guy instead of outright just beating him up. That was fun. But then the Death Dealer, I was kind of just like, oh, so you're just a bad Shang-Chi. I've seen
Dealer
this.
was the biggest disappointment for me in this film.
Yeah, which I'm like, I'm glad he didn't talk, so it wasn't another character I had to care about.
You're not meant to care about him.
Exactly. If he was just, it would have been more interesting if the Mandarin sent out a group to go get Shang-Chi, like a specific group of people. So there was Death Dealer, there was Razor Fist, there was Taskmaster, there was this, that, and the other. Do you get what I mean? And then he sent them out, so it's not just nameless people Shang-Chi's fighting the entire time.
Like, Death Dealer and that crane, well, no, the crane fight, the skyscraper fight. That was a good fight between those two.
Yeah.
Also, we climbed the building like a monkey.
Yeah.
But
And that entire construction scene, I felt ill in. That's just because I hate heights.
that's because people were hanging off the edge of the
Exactly.
building.
But that was a good scene. It made sense. And it was like... And the only thing I will say last on these characters is I'm so glad Razor Fist at the end did just team up. That shows that he's actually a character and not just villain. Do you get what I mean?
It was like disappointing because that's like they had to kill Death Dealer to do that, and at this point in the movie, Death Dealer was like the Mandarin or Wenwu, whatever, the dad's right hand. He's best man. Also heavily involved in the training of Shang-Chi as a kid and beating him as a kid.
Yeah, so it
There should have been more there.
It should have been like Shang-Chi defeats him at one point. Like, at the very end,
he's the
defeats
guy-
him, and then the team turns against the dad.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, yeah.
They say, what was it, the dad trained him, but we look at all the flashbacks and it's Death Dealer that's doing it.
Exactly, so...
The guy the guy making him go out. He's
And
the
I
guy
was-
beating the crap out of
I
him.
was so ready for Death Dealer to have a twist. Be like, it's actually the corpse of your mother resurrected. Do you get what I mean?
Jesus
I-
Christ.
But that's what I was prepared for, like, to take off the mask, and it's his mum, and it's got, like, a robot Do you get what I mean? And then just do Taskmaster again. Because it's the same character. It's just at one point there's an emotional twist, and then the others there's not. So it's like, either have it so
the other just dies.
Because due to the backstory of Shang-Chi, there should be an emotional connection between him and Shang-Chi, and by the end there isn't. And it's the opposite in Black Widow. At the start, there is no emotional connection between them and Black Widow, and then by the end there is. Do you get what I mean? One works well, like the Taskmaster thing, because it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense that they have the emotional connection, because you just did the twist of who it is. But in this one, he's just killed. I forgot that he was even killed in that end fight, because I didn't care that much.
He's the reason that the rest of the Ten Rings help.
Which makes sense, and it's like, makes sense if your best fighter goes. You then quickly realise, oh yeah, we're screwed. But it's also like, I didn't need a lot of these characters. I'm glad.
At least the goons had names.
Yeah, that's the thing. It should have been, you had a group of goons, and they all had names. And they're all just sort of nobody characters that you're not meant to care about. Or give us characters that we're meant to care.
For a week, eh?
Or just, like they did in this, where Death Dealer has no resemblance to Death Dealer in the comics. It's just a good fighter with a semi-white mask. And they were like, we'll use that one. Which I'm like, do that all you want, you know? I'll be happy about that. And then you'll get 17 videos like, oh my god, Death Dealer's comic, like, origin. And it'd be really good for, like, Shang-Chi. Like, good marketing. Any other characters?
Dealer was advertised as a major villain in the advertising.
It should have been the tag.
No, it's just the only other characters in this film that were post-credit scenes was Wong.
Oh, let's just talk about the post-credit
scenes. We'll talk about the post-credit scene.
No, we'll do now.
So, yeah, we're doing the post-credit scenes now. The second one couldn't care less. Or Ten Rings returning. Who cared?
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I thought it was going to be like she's the leader of the Ten Rings, and a turn, and have Hammer there, and Leader, and Sharon Carter, and they're having a discussion, like a villainous meetup, but no, it was just, she's just owned it now.
Ten Rings will return.
I'm like, wow, can we stop doing this whole will return thing? And I'm like, that's a weird gimmick you now have, because you had it in Loki, and now you have it in this. I'm like, are we going to get that all the time now? You know?
Yeah, just this person will return. We're like, no. We know.
Nobody
it's Marvel.
Yeah. Unless your name's Hammer, you will return.
Hammer returned in All Hail the King. Available on Disney Plus.
Yeah. But okay, the first one.
This post-credit scene.
I'm glad that they were introduced to Wong again, because the Wong, there was no reason for him to be in that earlier scene, but I'm glad he was. So now they could bring him in that end. It would have made sense whether he was in the beginning or not. But I'm just like, it was fun.
That bit in the middle of the film was like to set up Abomination more.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's weird, but I don't. It's weird that.
And sort of Wong and Abomination are friends.
Yeah, which. Okay, you're setting stuff up, and it's like, you're making me think about these characters, which is okay. But then, don't put it in the trailer. Don't put it on the poster. It's a 30-second
they had
action
to put it
scene.
In the trailer.
Yeah, otherwise.
Seen the whole scene in the trailers.
Yeah. And it was
just
fun.
been the one punch, but like a really like darkened version of it, so you can barely see it.
Yeah.
And you can't tell it's Wong, and you can maybe tell it's Abomination, but not really.
Yeah. It's just, it didn't matter in the end, that scene. But then the post credits, I liked the characters talking, and they did set up for a sequel, which I'm glad. And I like that they just quick cameo from Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner. We don't need anything else, you know.
They've opened up questions about Bruce Banner.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why he's the Hulk. That's strange.
It's probably budgetary reasons.
Maybe. But I'm like, you could have just had him stand there. You know?
Yeah, they've already had one giant green monster in this movie.
Exactly. Take some of the budget away from that, put it to this. But
might be some in-universe in explaining She-Hulk.
Maybe. But that's the whole thing now of, where did the Ten Rings come from? Which in the comics it's Fin Fan Foom. which I'm glad because I want to see another dragon.
Big fan of food.
I want to see more dragons.
Shang-Chi fights a dragon.
Again.
Shang-Chi too.
Wow.
And I just watched, you watched the movie, and I already seen this movie.
Yeah. But that was because Fin Fan Foom would be such a fun villain to go up against, you know? Because that's nothing like we've ever seen. It's this huge monster, and that's it. Who's probably just come here to find the 10 rings. Do you know what could be really interesting? They're his 10 rings. Like finger rings, but because he's so big. Do you get what I mean? So one of his
Actually
fingers...
make it like the 10 rings in the comics, but they're just
Exactly.
big because of Fin Fan Foom.
Because in the comics, they're just tiny rings, and they were forged from like something found in Fin Fan Foom's ship. Which I'm like, ooh, that could be fun for a sequel. If he comes here, and then at the end, then Shang-Chi meets the Avengers and other superheroes, you know, because a big dragon just
has
turns up
another
in the
meeting
middle.
with Bruce Banner, like, that meeting we had, I've dealt with it.
Yeah, he's right over there, and then you got a parallel back to the first Avengers, when it's like, I'm bringing you the party, and Katie's driving the car, and Shang-Chi's waiting and goes, what, where? And then Fin Fan Foom crashes through the building behind her, and then he goes, how's that a party? See? Perfect, there you go. I just wrote a scene for you, Kevin Feige.
And then Shang-Chi goes, Dr. Banner, this might be a really good time for you to get angry.
And then he goes, I never am. And then he just carefully turns into the Hulk, because that's his power now. He's just really relaxed.
Professor Hulk.
He's just chill. And then She-Hulk comes out of nowhere. Boom. See? Yeah, again, I'm more excited for future shit than this.
Yeah. I wasn't really excited for this film anyway.
No, neither was I. And people were saying this is an origin. I'm like, it's not. It's an introductory film. Because yes, you get to know the character's origin, but it's not like it shows it to you, like in every other origin film. You know?
It wasn't the first half of the film.
Yeah. And because he doesn't have an origin. He's just a kid who was raised to fight. He's not bitten by a spider or bombarded by cosmic rays, you know?
He was just raised to be an assassin.
Yeah. And it's just like his entire life up until this point has been his origin, like any human. Do you know what I mean? In real life, if you can determine your origin, you know something's up. If I can go, the entire reason why I am existing is because of that focal moment. So this is not an origin, but it still felt like that. And
it's the first movie. We'd never met this character before.
Yeah. That's the thing. This is my main problem with this film. There is so much exposition, I started to go insane by the end of it. Who is this character? Who is this? And it's like, other than a few scenes, we never get to meet his mum. And then we're just told about his mum that entire time. I'm like, why? I'm like, she could have trained him, or they could have had more scenes in Tao Lo or whatever. And then even when they get the two jewels and they found out the way to get to Tai Lo, whatever. The dad still then explains what we're seeing to us. And I'm like, bitch, I can see. Why are you not shocked? You're just finding this out now. You know? Have emotion, man. Start slapping the Mandarin with a ring. Just pat, pat, pat. Oh, God. That's the main problem I have with this film, is all the exposition. Just makes me feel like I want to throw up. Which, not great for a film. Not great. Not great. And it's like, I wish they went full street level with this, where it was mostly hand-to-hand fighting, and not whatever that fight was at the end. Do you get what I mean?
They did sort of go, oh, we have to have a big CGI fight.
Yeah. I wish they never went to Tao Lo. I'm like, that didn't need to exist. Why was that here? You know? It could have been the mum was the guardian of a cave, and within that cave was the thing, you know, where the creatures are going to come out. And do you get what I mean? It's like you didn't need this whole thing around it of like, oh, now we've got... And it's like, that city doesn't live within our dimension. I'm like, that's strange. Why is that a thing? And why
Just
can you get it
Marvel.
through like bamboo forest?
Yeah, just trying to eat you alive.
You know, it should have been the city of Kunlun, which in the comics is a hidden city away from everything, where they study like ancient martial arts, and Iron Fist comes from there. You know,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be so much better if his mum was an Iron Fist? So instead of weird airbending fighting that is never explained and is used like twice.
Just you the closer. I think it's the power of the Great Protected Dragon.
Yeah, but I'm also like, that's not needed. I don't want that. Can I just give her the Iron Fist, you know? And then when she died, she was... This is what it should have been, yeah? His mum's from Kunlun. City, blah, 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 blah. And yes, you get through her through a bamboo forest, but it's not in another dimension with crazy creatures and whatever. And she is who guards the entrance to Kunlun, like she was in this, and she's an Iron Fist. She is like just a straight up, she can harness her chi into her fist. Boom, that's how she defeated 10 rings that one time. And then on her deathbed, then you pick up from Iron Fist from that. Do you get what I mean? You could have almost made this exact film the origin for Iron Fist, so we don't have to see it in that film. That could have been interesting. But
this film.
Oh, like a show. You know we're going to get like a
We're not
Heroes
getting
for
that
Hire
either.
show. No, we'll get
Iron
a Heroes
Fist
for
has
Hire.
been run into the ground.
We'll get Heroes
They
for
aren't
Hire
touching
or
that for 10
Defenders.
years.
No. I bet we'll get it soon. At least within the
Iron
next
Fist
5.
got run into the ground more than the X-Men did.
I know, and he only had 2 seasons. And like 1 Defender show. They are going to do a
Bring back
Heroes for
all
Hire.
the other Defenders and then just leave out Iron Fist.
Well, they can just recast him and change him, you know? And just make him be good.
Yeah.
Because then, I
Just
reckon...
calls him Danny Rand instead of Iron Fist the whole time.
Yeah. I reckon as Shang-Chi becomes more of an Avenger, then we'll get Iron Fist to fill that gap of the street level martial artist, you know? I can't wait for Iron Fist. Because I want someone to do it right. Any final points on this amazing film that is full of exposition and too many characters, but good fighting? So, you get an A+. Go on, Dan. Any final points?
It's Black Widow done right. You go.
Didn't we like Black Widow? I can't remember what we discussed in
Yeah,
that
we did
review.
like Black Widow, but
So Shang-Chi
Black
is
Widow
done
wasn't that
slightly
good of a
better.
character in that film.
Yeah. So Shang-Chi is done slightly better. Well done, Marvel. You're always at
Shang-Chi was
least
a 10.
good.
Shang-Chi's in 10th place, Black Widow's in 11th.
Yeah. Well done, Marvel. You always know how to make a decent film. Never good.
You're an average
Or like-
Marvel. You're an average
Exactly.
film.
I'd love to get all the
Unless it's
Marvel
Captain
films.
America: The Winter Soldier. That's a
Yeah.
great movie.
I'd love to get all the Marvel films and just be like, okay, which ones are just average? And it would be
Copy
like
and paste.
50% of them. Because, like,
It's because in the early days they had a formula that worked.
yeah. And it's just...
At least Shang-Chi stepped away from that formula a
Yeah.
bit more.
But it's like, if
Like
you
an
looked at all
experiment.
the Marvel films, it would be like 50% average, 10% shit, like 30% good.
They're all enjoyable.
Yeah, but then there'd be 30% good and then 10% amazing. You know? Like, ugh. I need more bad Marvel films. Just awfully bad, you know? Not like a Thor 2 that's boring. Just ones that's outrageous for no reason.
Even Thor 2 you can enjoy bits of.
I want the Spider-Man 3 of Marvel films. You know?
An absolute insanely good movie.
Oh, you're right. And that's where we'll end it off. We'll end our Shang-Chi review by discussing Spider-Man
A teaser
3.
for our Spider-Man retrospective.
Yes, that'll be out soon. Alright then. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed us discussing Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the longest title since Shang-Chi and the Legend of Fin Fan Foom. Okay, see you next time.